Good Party Secretary General Brett Herron believes it's possible for South Africa to roll out a 999 Rand basic income grant. He argues that what's required is a move away from the old formula of budget allocation to direct money to the nation's most pressing needs. He joins us now for more on the story. Brett, good evening. Thanks for your time. Your voice obviously adds to an already existing chorus around why it is that a basic income grant is the only, well, one of the only viable options when it comes to addressing the high inequality that this country faces.
Hi, Kathy. Yes, I mean, the premise is really that there can be nothing more frontline in terms of service delivery and in terms of poverty alleviation than transferring cash to the poor. And any program or any project that is aimed at poverty alleviation should be measured against the efficiency and the effectiveness of a cash transfer to address the extreme poverty that we are experiencing in our country, while we're also not creating enough jobs for people to earn an income.
Brett, the question that often arises when it comes to the rollout of a basic income grant is where should the money come from? It's a question that some economists ask. It's a question that even National Treasury asks, especially when it's making a justification for why it believes that it may not necessarily be a sustainable solution. This is the rollout of a basic income grant. Your sense of where this money can be found in our current budget, with everything else that the state has to cater for?
Well, we've done quite a lot of research on how the state can fund this without necessarily borrowing more in order to deliver it. And the starting point is what we would call allocated efficiency. And this is looking at government allocations to departments and to programs and to projects, and displacing those that do not effectively address poverty as much as a cash transfer could. So in other words, it's about budget prioritization, going back to what the former finance minister, Tito Mboweni, committed to several years ago, and that is what is called zero-based budgeting. So you put into the budget the most important and necessary priority spend, and we're arguing in this case that a cash transfer of 999 Rand per month to those people who are unable to sustain themselves because they can't find employment would be the most pressing need and the most effective way of addressing poverty. And then you build your budget around that. And we have, through the research we've done, managed to identify various sources of funding that could fund about the 110 billion Rand a year that would be required to provide this basic income grant. So it's really a question of political will. It will require substantial restructuring of government to some extent. It will also require a restructuring of some of the tax revenue that is foregone due to deductions and incentives that are built into our tax system. But really it says the most pressing need right now is to address the starvation and the deprivation of any income of at least 10 to 13 million South Africans.
One of the other things that you point to, Brett, is that tax reforms may well also be another avenue for funding the basic income grant.
Yeah, look, I mean, currently what's called the tax revenue that is foregone. In other words, tax revenue that we don't as a state receive from taxpayers because of deductions and incentives amount to about 240 billion Rand a year, of which about 160 billion Rand a year is claimed as a tax deduction by individuals who earn over 500,000 Rand a year. So there is room within the tax system to reduce some of those deductions in order to contribute to funding a basic income grant. And one of them is the retirement annuity or the retirement savings tax incentive, which disproportionately benefits extremely wealthy South Africans, because the incentive is that if you contribute up to 350,000 rand per year to to retirement savings, then you can claim that as a deduction against your income. And there are very few ordinary middle-class working South Africans who are saving 350,000 rand a year towards retirement savings. And so there are some tax reforms and tax incentives that could be restructured to help us fund poverty alleviation in a direct way by making a cash transfer to those who wake up every single day with no income at all.
All right. Brett, thanks for your time. We'll leave it there. Brett Herron is with the Good Party.